here we are, podcast 31. We have a very, very, very special guest today. So again, we always say that this is going to be the best podcast ever. I think this will be. It's very interesting, very intelligent, successful friend, client, and business entrepreneur. So I think we're going to talk about some really interesting things today.
Yeah, for sure.
Alex, welcome.
Good morning, gentlemen.
How you doing?
I'm a little bit on the frigid side today.
Frigid.
It's a bit cold outside.
Yeah, we've had 2 feet of snow in the last week.
Welcome to Cleveland.
It's crazy. It'll be 80 and sunny in a couple days.
Bring it. I'm ready.
If you're flying to Florida.
This is true.
That is true. So,
Eric, welcome back, by the way. You missed the last podcast.
I did miss the last podcast. You guys crushed it. It was
Yeah.
very good.
It was the best one yet.
It was the best one yet because I wasn't there. So no, it was really good. And anybody that hasn't seen the last podcast, we introduced another teammate, Sam, who's super amazing and professional dancer, private trainer, studying to be her physician assistant, and helped author this educational binder to help our clients really connect dots on why they're exercising, why nutrition's important, why meditate, why journal. I mean, the binder is so amazing. And it's a huge value add, but really it helps clients understand what they're doing, why they're doing it, and also debunks a lot of misconceptions that are out there that people worry about. So it's very valuable.
For sure. Very, very valuable. Check out the podcast.
And, so that one's 30.
Yeah, 30, last podcast. So should we talk about Alex right now?
We should talk about Alex.
Alex, what do you want to talk about?
Well, 80 degrees weather sounds good.
So Alex is a friend. We've met in the business entrepreneurial world. He had a successful technology insurance startup.
Pet, right?
That's right, yeah, pet insurance.
And I was doing a technology software startup at the time, and we met.
Perks.
Well, had VI Perks, and we met and kind of hit it off. So we've stayed friends and stayed in touch and became even closer friends. So thank you for the friendship. I appreciate it.
As well, we're friends, neighbors, and it's always fun. Business is life, right?
Business is life, and life is business. Mm-hmm. But life is life, and that's what we want to talk about.
Yeah.
Life is life, absolutely.
The hustle.
That's a song. Life is life. Dun, 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 dun.
You're revealing your age here.
What?
You're revealing your age here.
I am. That's okay. It's a good song. It's a good. So Alex, you have this amazing background, and if you can spend a few minutes, take your time, and tell us your background, because you're originally from Australia.
Originally, yeah. I was going to say originally.
I couldn't tell from the voice.
Right.
From the accent.
From the accent.
Accents.
Yes. I'm a child of the world.
Yes.
Born in Australia, raised in Australia. My dad was in the Air Force and lived all over as a kid. And I think Aussies have wanderlust, They like to move around, they like to travel. Because it's one of the few countries in the world where we have no neighbors, not without getting on a boat or a plane.
Right. Yeah, it's like a big island, right?
It's a whopping big island, and it's not a very big country. Pardon me. So the Australia I grew up in was, I'm not isolated, right?
Yeah.
And as much as it was fun and everything else, I think a lot of Aussies have traveled like, right? This is why you hear stories about people in the middle of Mongolia and they run into a group of Aussies drinking beer at a local bar, right? This is what they do. They get out. So I think I've always had this desire. I've always loved the United States, and even as a young kid, I always felt I would end up living here. Couldn't explain why, just a feeling. But I've always appreciated the hustle. Starting businesses at a university. A buddy and I used to do shareware. Remember shareware, like the 3.5-inch floppy disk. So this is back in the early 90s. And
you're dating yourself now.
I am dating myself. I'm okay with that. I've learned lots of wisdom, right? I'm not allowed to say that. I'm just wiser.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's always been fun. The small country you make of it, what you will, right? But the hustle is the hustle. So we used to do house number painting on the curb, make a few bucks. We'd knock on people's doors. Hey, we've got a letter from the council says we're allowed to paint numbers on the curb. So like, sure, how much? $10. So we would do that. We'd spend a whole day. We'd make like $800 in a day.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
We shoveled driveways.
Right.
Carried golf bags.
Right.
You
don't have to shovel sunshine.
Right.
So we just moved to Australia, man. No snow.
A different creativity, right?
That's right. Scoop kangaroo poop instead of everything,
Right.
No, so just when I was a kid, I studied engineering. Loved it. Engineered heart, I always will be. And I think in hindsight, I've told lots of friends this. I'm like, study engineering. It's good for helping you build things. Doesn't matter what you build; it'll just help you build things.
Sure.
And I think that's true of companies too. But so I moved all around the world as an engineer. Lived in England, in Australia, and in South America. But I always felt that I was missing something, right? So you have this hardcore engineering education, but you're missing the softer skills: accounting, finance, managing people. So I always had a desire to do an MBA, something in the business world. And so that brought me into the US in 2001,
right.
3 weeks before 9/11. Great timing, right?
Crazy.
And then, started my MBA in Philly and had an absolute blast. Met tons and tons of fascinating
Why can't you say it? I went to the business school of business schools, Ivy League, like put it in University of Pennsylvania, Wharton.
Because like 10% of people have heard of it and 90% of people haven't. So let's say business school in Philly, I like cheesesteaks, so different.
You went to Wharton, man.
I went to Wharton.
That's a big deal.
It's a great school. When I was there, Ivanka Trump was a student.
Oh, wow.
She was undergrad. I was grad school. But you could see her walking around. She's very tall. So it's not hard to miss her. But it was a fantastic school and a fantastic experience. To this day, have a lot of fond memories. Philly's a cool city. Everyone rubbishes Philadelphia, but it's actually a really cool city. Yeah. Really enjoyed it. Lived downtown, tons of friends, had an absolute blast. So really enjoyed Philly, really enjoyed my MBA. And then at business school, the dot bomb had happened, right? All the dot coms had imploded, and throw in 9/11 on top of that. And when I finished business school in 2003, and I began dating myself, the economy was kind of crap.
Right.
I had planned to go into consulting or McKinsey or Bain or BCG.
Sure.
And they weren't hiring anybody. So normally from, Wharton's like 700, 750 people, they would take 70, 80, 90 people.
Right.
They took maybe 5 in my year. Oh, crap, this is not going to work. So at business school, had worked on a bunch of classes and entrepreneurial classes and thought about this pet insurance idea. Some other people in my class had talked about pet insurance and how they had it in back home in England, and I thought that was really interesting. So I'm like, well, we should write a business plan for this idea of yours. Right. So we did. And there was a magazine at Wharton. They had these big folder racks, and they would put these magazines in every quarter, like these business school. I think it was called they don't exist anymore. The magazine's gone, but they would put them in your folder. And like it was advertising this business plan competition. So I'm like, well, we should enter. So we wrote this business plan up, the 3 of us, and put it in, and we made it like the semifinals on the craziest idea. Like I had no idea what I was doing.
Pet insurance?
With pet insurance, yeah. And we made it, and it gave us a little bit of, false hope. Like, wow, maybe there's something to this. But I quickly realized, as a non-insurance guy, that I was out of my depth, right? Like, engineers love numbers and equations, all that stuff is good. But at the end of the day, insurance is a very weird type of mathematics. And I realized, like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I co-opted a good friend of mine, also at Wharton, and she joined us. Another Wharton MBA, so there were now 4 of us. And we entered the Wharton Business Plan competition, which was May of 2003. And I think we beat out 75 other companies, all pitching for 20. I think the prize money back then was 20 grand. And so we ended up winning with this pet insurance idea. And I thought we were set. This is going to be great. VCs are going to throw money at us, and insurance companies are going to sign up. It was crickets. Crickets. Raising money. So it's funny, I talked to a lot of pet entrepreneurs today, like many, many people, and it's significantly easier to raise money with a pet-related business in 2022 than it was back in 2003. Like, no one took any of that stuff seriously.
Right.
Because there were no, aside from the retailers, Petco, PetSmart, hospital chains like Banfield, there was no scale at all to any kind of pet business. There was nothing. Literally didn't exist.
Why do you think that is?
It was, I think partly, Jeremy, it's demographic. I think as generations have aged, the closeness and proximity with pets has changed. So so what I like to say is, our grandparents, right? If we think about those folks, the dog was in the backyard, and then the dog went from the backyard
and the horse
and
this
is true. If you're rural, right? And at best, maybe the dog was a good friend, but that was it. The dog slept outside unless it was really cold. The dog comes inside. Then the dog went from the backyard to the kitchen, from the kitchen to the living room, from the living room to the sofa, from the sofa to the bedroom, from the bedroom
so
floor
you're
to
saying
the bed.
People just started to love their pets more?
Yes, that's exactly what's happened.
Wow,
And it's
20 years.
taken multiple generations, though, I think.
Yeah.
So our grandparents, had one relationship with their pets, and then young folks today have a completely different one. And that is why it's much easier to raise money today, because this country, the United States, is the wealthiest pet spending nation on the planet by a long shot.
We love our pets.
Love our pets. And so
that makes sense how much more engaged with pets, especially with social now too. I mean, it's every other
pets
post
have
is
their
a
own
post.
social.
Many do, yes.
Yeah.
There are many channels on Instagram with, we'll think about Grumpy the cat, right?
Right.
I personally subscribe to Grumpy's philosophy in life. Like, he's a great example of social media done really well with pets, and has influenced many of our lives. So the pet business is very healthy. It's prospering. Tons of interesting ideas, and I think that's going to continue for the next 20, 30 years.
But it was a lot harder back then.
It was a lot harder back then.
And you were in it.
And I was in.
It was not only in it. I mean, he scaled it. He raised a lot of money.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't actually raise a lot of money. We couldn't get people to give us money. So in 2005 or so, we raised money actually from Jumpstart here in Cleveland. They were fantastic. I believe we were the first company that they gave money to. We started with a seed investment. Yeah, Ray Leach and Lynn Grease, Becca Braun at Jumpstart were fantastically helpful. They believed our vision. They were so supportive. To this day, have very fond memories and feelings towards Jumpstart. They took a leap of faith in us when many others would not.
Right.
And thanks to them, we built a pretty sizable business out of it. We didn't end up raising a lot of money, though. I think in total we took maybe $5 million. Which, I mean, it's not an insignificant amount of money. That's to
you because of your new venture and raising tens of millions of dollars. I get it that you think it's small, but raising $5 million is $5 million. It's a lot.
Right, it is.
99.999% of businesses do not raise $5 million.
No, they don't. But even so, insurance is a very capital intensive business.
Sure.
Not the insurance company part of it, just acquiring policies. Anyway. I guess what I'm trying to say is that we didn't raise a ton of money compared to your typical startup today.
Sure.
Startups today are raising 10, 20, 30, $50 million on businesses that have little in the way of revenue.
Right on.
So things have changed a lot, not just pet, but in general in the venture space.
Sure.
But I was really proud. We built a really good business with very little, and we had to bootstrap that thing like crazy because no one believed in pet businesses back then.
Right on.
And then you start building your revenue, 1 million, 2 million, 6 million, 11 million. And then as the numbers go up, even back then it was hard to raise capital. Even with 10, 20 million of premium, people were like, I'm not sure if this can continue. We had one company that was interested in acquiring us, and they put a term sheet in front of us, and the numbers weren't good, and we said no. And years later, they came back to us and said they were really upset, well, not crying tears or anything, but sort of bummed that they didn't get a chance to acquire us because we kept growing.
Right.
They didn't believe, they told us, they said, they had boardroom meetings and they didn't believe we could keep growing at the rate we were growing. And we did. We were like 5 times bigger later than they were at the time, right? They called it pet regret. So the lesson I've learned is never give up and persevere. And it's so easy sometimes to just want to chuck in the towel, right? You have
Sure.
situations like this, guys.
I
It's
just
not
wanted
worth
to
it.
say some of the ups and downs that you told me about the business. I mean, we don't necessarily have time for it today, but it's just crazy how that roller coaster went. Because it sounds great, and you raised 5 million, and you ended up selling, and your shares, and you're now in a bigger, better venture, which sounds super exciting. It's amazing, but just the typical, everyone thinks the path to success is a straight line, and it's just so all over the place.
Totally, yeah.
And I mean, just like life, just like health, just like diet, just like anything, it's never a straight line, right? It's always the highs are high, the lows are low, and there's a lot in between. And but congratulations.
So what did you use to navigate through all that? All the ups and downs, building a business. You said you didn't even know anything about the pet insurance business.
No. I mean, I think this is where reflection, as the years go on, like when you're in it, you don't get much of an opportunity to reflect,
Right.
And that comes with time and age, and maybe even you would call it wisdom. But I didn't take care of my health too well back then. You take your youth and your young years for granted, and you can push yourself pretty hard. But I ended up at one point got gastritis, and I didn't realize it, and I lost a ton of weight, and it was all due to stress. And that was probably 12, 13 years ago, and I vowed to take good care of myself. It's bad for you if you don't listen to your body. It can really blow you up. So
you're super healthy. I mean, you lift a lot of weights. You're in a gym about 4 or 5 at least times a week. Lift very heavy. What did you do to get into the gym and take that rock bottom for you, which was gastritis and stress, and realizing that? So what did that journey look like for you?
I've always liked lifting weights. I was a skinny kid, skinny, right? And so I always Jeremy's like, yeah. So I didn't have a lot of money, a bit of pocket money here and there. So and in Australia, when I was in high school, it's kind of hard to find lifting equipment, right? So I used to make stuff. So I'd take 2 pieces of doweling and I would put bricks on each end, and that would be my bicep curl. And
Wow.
I would make whatever I could.
I didn't think people ever really did that. I thought that was just like a cartoonish thing.
No, I actually
really
did that. Yeah,
Wow.
I took whatever I could find. That's the one I remember. But so I've always enjoyed not being skinny. Right, that was my thing. I used to get. I remember one summer, I was with a good friend of mine from university. We went to stay with my parents. I lived with my brother when I was in university, so I went to stay with my parents. We flew up to Queensland, and this indignity completely changed my whole view of the world. So we went to look for temp jobs, right? So you're like 18, 19 years old. You do anything, right, for a buck, whatever, throwing heavy crap around. So we go into this place. My buddy was probably 20 pounds heavier than me. And go into this place, and this woman, she's like, great. Well, I think your friend can definitely do this job. It's going to be moving heavy stuff. You're not big enough. And I was like being kicked in the teeth. I'm like, what do you mean not big enough? And in hindsight, she was probably correct. Because I was like 150 pounds. But it always stood out to me. I'm like, damn it. And so anyway, I moved to South America, and I used to go to the gym there quite regularly. But
South America.
Yeah.
¿Tú hablas español?
Of course. So I've always enjoyed.
Alex speaks Spanish on a what's higher than 401 or 501? I mean, you're fluent.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a great language.
Your knowledge of it is. We were just at a Mexican restaurant a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and he's literally fixing the grammar on the menu. They did it wrong.
I don't know if I'd want to eat there.
No, because they're not of Mexican origin, but they built the concept
American Mexican,
but they put a lot of Spanish words on the menu, and they were all incorrect. They all meant different things, and they directly translated it. And Alex went and fixed their whole menu.
Well, yes, I'm guilty of that. I just want to see him be successful and authentic.
Sure,
you know?
sure.
But no, the weights have always been fun, and I enjoy it. And it's a great way to reduce stress, throw heavy crap around, right?
Right.
So that's my thing. You know, everyone has their interests, I guess, and I guess that's kind of mine. It's like a journey too. You improve a little bit every day. It's like, you know, 1% per day or 0.1%, it doesn't matter, but you can slightly
1/10 of 1%.
Right. You can add an extra 2.5 pounds to your stack. That's good enough. Right. And maybe you're stuck there for a month or 3 or 6, but then you move past it again. And you're like, I look back at my old logs, what I used to be able to lift, and I'm like, holy crap, that's like warm-up weight now. And that was my maximum 5-6 years ago.
Right.
So it's amazing how you can change your body and you don't feel like it.
And you changed the way I work out a little bit. Like I'm 6 months into it. I think I'm doing great. I'm working out, whatever else. And I don't skip leg days. And he's like, well, if you can walk out of the gym on leg day, you haven't done your legs. And that's just always in the back of my mind now. Every time I work out legs or anything else.
You told him that? You're trying to kill the guy. Huh?
So there's a guy on
He's
YouTube.
He's not from Australia, don't forget.
No, you know what? There's a guy on YouTube named Ryan Hummerston, and you should check out his channel. He's a great dude. He's like, absolutely beat yourself up. Do it healthily and properly, of course.
Sure.
Do it from a position of strength. But his point is, if you're not completely and utterly blown up, you haven't worked hard enough. And this is the attitude going back to, I think there's a relationship here between
but you get there. You don't do it when you're 3 months in the gym or 6 months or even a year in the gym. This is a year in the gym, 5 years, 8 years, 10 years. That's a different story.
But the lesson I take from him is that you should work as hard as you possibly can. I think a lot of people go to the gym, and I'm sure you guys see this, right? They go through the perfunctory movements and they do whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, you're not doing yourself any good by just going through the movements. You've got to want it. Right. And that doesn't mean you have your vision needs to be some big ultra muscular dude. It's just like, if you're gonna do it well, right? Didn't our grandparents always say this?
Yeah.
Parents.
Sure.
So, and you can tell when people are working out that their mind is not even in the workout; they're somewhere else.
Oh yeah, you know, the quarter rep movement. Like, I mean, come on, you're not going to get anything out of it,
or too fast, just to get it done.
So my point about blowing up legs, if you will, it's like it shows you that you've worked to the maybe not the limit of your abilities, but you've pushed up against it.
Right.
And I think that's what you owe yourself, right?
Right.
And this attitude in business separates businesses like Amazon from businesses like Pets.com.
Right.
You know, huge gulf in between those two businesses, and ultimately it boils down. It's your head that makes the difference. It's your brain. It's your attitude that makes you success.
So brain, mindset, and just always growing, always tweaking, always knowing that you can do it better.
That's right.
For you call it blow it up, but I know on my third set, if I can barely do the 10th rep or 12th rep or however many reps I'm doing, I've left it all on the field, right? I feel like I got the full workout in, and I'm seeing those results.
Well, so then what you do is you do a drop set, you drop the weight, and you keep pushing it. You don't give up. You don't say, great, I did 10, I feel great. You drop the weight, and you're like, I'm going to do 10 at a low weight. And then if you can do that, you do 10 more, and then you keep dropping the weight until
there's no more weight to drop, right?
That's right. And you're like, now I'm done.
Now
I've emptied the tank.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I mean, you're relating. There's different ways to work out, as the same thing as there's different ways to build businesses. And a company like Amazon is Amazon because they're doing the drop set, right?
Amazon is just relentless. They're such a clever, smart company. You know, I remember at business school, one of the cases that I remember was Amazon versus Barnes and Noble. Who will win? You think about that today, it's laughable.
Right.
It's laughable. Like Amazon they didn't kill Barnes and Noble, but they left them in the dust.
But back then, I would say Barnes and Noble because I saw them out on the corner, right?
Bricks and mortar. People want to feel the books, but people saw Amazon. So the frame of mind was wrong. Amazon was never a bookstore.
Right.
Books were a starting point for Jeff Bezos.
Right.
And he was playing a different game from everybody else. They just didn't know it.
Right.
And he never took his eye off the ball, not for a second. And, you know, I know people love to rag on Amazon, and maybe some of it may be justified. But I guess my point is, as a big allegory for our own lives, this is a business that's hugely successful and did it by working smarter and harder and never taking their eye off the ball.
And he was just 5, 10 years ahead, and profit never mattered. It was more about market share and how do we build this logistics train to where shipping isn't a cost. And whether we drop off 10 boxes or 15 boxes or 20 boxes down the street, it doesn't matter. It's just adds another maybe $1 or $5 overhead. It's not an additional $20 to deliver a box. And it doesn't matter the size of the box or how heavy anything is or how big anything is. The truck is still going to go down the street. And he saw that 15 years ago when no one else saw it. That's the brilliance. I mean, just the fact that how do you deliver a TV for free? Like, that's crazy. Because shipping used to be $100, $150 on a television. Now it's incrementally cost Amazon $1. Right? Because they're driving down that street anyway. And that's why they can blow Best Buy out of the water and everyone else out of the water and Barnes & Noble out of the water because they're driving down the street anyway. And they got to the vision, this crazy vision of you're going to build your own FedEx. You're going to build your own UPS. What? And here they are, taking up all our gas stations.
Yeah. I was in Seattle at the airport just a couple of months ago, and I saw the Prime Air, the planes.
Right.
There's a whole bunch of them out there.
Sure.
I mean, who'd have thought of it? 20 years ago, like I said,
no one.
The business school.
No one except for
case study.
Bezos. Yeah.
We were sitting there worried about debating Barnes and Noble, but if you were playing the true long game like Bezos was, it wasn't even a question. I'm like, it answers itself.
Yeah, he could fit one of Barnes and Nobles on one of his ships.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, he could buy that company 100 times over and have so much money left over. It's not funny.
And again, it's not the prettiest website. It's not but the customer service, the delivery, all these things that everybody else isn't such a stickler on that he was from day one. Like, they're going to get it. They're going to get it fast. They're going to depend on me. I'm going to be down their street. I mean, that's just crazy vision. And again, it's you can deliver within 3 days, 2, 1, same day. Like, crazy.
Right. And look at what Walmart has responded in kind, right? Who benefits? I argue that we do.
Right.
People pick on Amazon for perhaps justifiable reasons, from labor practices, working warehouses and stuff.
Sure.
But look how it's changed their lives.
That's amazing.
So I think business has the power to transform people and people's lives. And I think we have our lives are the means to transform business.
Right.
Someone like Bezos has always had this drive and ambition. I think we as entrepreneurs have to bring that same ambition, drive, and vision to the businesses that we're in.
Right.
That's your job in life. As the entrepreneur, as the founder or the co-founder, is to make that change visible every single day, to live it and breathe it, and to bring your people with you.
So speaking of business and big vision and congratulations on your latest startup.
You want to quickly talk about that? I don't know.
Oh, sure. I feel kind of gun shy sometimes. I'm like, I'm taking up all the airtime yapping about myself.
That's why you're here. People, they don't want to hear about us
all the time. You're our special guest. We'll get to how we're interconnected in business in 1 second, but the last thing is what you're currently working on and the success you're seeing there right now.
So I hesitate to call us a startup anymore. I prefer a young company. To me, startup is like a phase. It's like dirty and messy, and we're still dirty and messy, but of a different nature. So the latest company, Petabyte, is a SaaS company, software as a service, and we service the veterinary space. The opportunity here is something I saw in the pet insurance space, with all these veterinary hospitals using very old software, client-server based, designed in the 90s, like literally designed in the 90s, not web-enabled, very sort of clunky. And I thought there's got to be a better way to do this. So I got connected with a VC firm based out of New York City a bunch of years ago. And one of the partners at the firm said, I want to do a pet business. Come up with something. I'm like, okay. So anyway, got with my business partner, who's based out of Seattle. He's a software guy, hardcore enterprise software guy. Right. And so we put our heads together and came up with Petabyte. So we've raised, I think, a Series B. I forget how much money we've raised in total. It's like maybe 23 million, 28 million, I forget. So it's actually a lot of money. Raising that money isn't always good. You do get diluted, but the opportunity is big.
Right.
So we're extremely busy. We just signed a huge partnership with the world's second largest veterinary chain back in July.
Congratulations! It's amazing.
So yeah, we are just busy. There's just my calendar has blown up.
Well, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for fitting us in. And in general, you fit me in, and I really want to thank you. So besides the fact that we're friends and we go to Mexican restaurants and have cigars once in a while, Alex is part of a very small, trusted circle that I bounce big strategy and decisions that Jeremy and I need to make for the business, and you've helped us get here. So I want to thank you for that. And again, you talking about yourself helps explain why you're part of that small circle of trust for us. And so anyway, thank you. And I think we're on to big, fun, amazing things, and you've been part of it. So thank you.
Well, I love what you guys are doing. There's always room for us to get healthier as a nation. So if you guys can play your role in that, and you've got some pretty big visions here, because you're looking at it. It's more than just exercise, right? It's diet, it's lifestyle, it's mental attitude.
Right.
It all plays a role, and if people want that, hopefully they'll come to you and get it.
Some of the things that you said earlier, like taking your youth for granted, being in the rat race, stress. Like, imagine if we were around then, and we would have helped you make that time, and helped meditate, journal, have some me time, relaxed a little bit, grateful for what you had at the time, which again, at the time it was never enough, and blah blah blah, which caused the stress. But that's what we're bringing. So many people need it, and
totally. I believe that your health is the most important thing you have.
Absolutely.
How you spend your time on this planet and maintaining good health while you do it. I would rather live a happy, healthy life to age 80 than be incredibly infirm and sick for 30 or 40 years.
Sure.
A slow decline. So
yeah, I
so
think
you take
most
care of
people
yourself.
could agree with you on that one.
For sure. Take care of yourself.
Absolutely. And mind, body, and soul. So how do you be a good human being? How is your mind in a good spot, and you're authentically confident and happy and healthy? And your body, you got to keep your body, because your body is frail, bones decay. You need to take care of your body, which helps everything else. And diet
too. You got to get your good meals into.
So Alex has been our meal plan client pretty much almost from the beginning. We started with
a couple people planning from the gym, yeah.
Our clients, a couple people from the gym, Jeremy and I, and then you were a close friend that said, absolutely, sign me up, let me try it, let me give you guys some feedback. So I really want to tell you thank you for that as well. That you became right away. It was let me try it, let me do it, as a support thing. And then what did it turn into?
Meal replacements. I get time and energy back, and I get yummy, healthy food in exchange.
Yeah. So talk about what you did prior to, because you buy a lot of meals, like 16 meals a week.
Right.
So we're replacing a lot of your meals. Not everything, because you like to cook.
I like to go to American and Mexican restaurants.
Who doesn't like to go out, right?
Yeah.
Right.
No, I think I'm on your twice a week plan. I get lunch and dinner, and I order 7 days in a row.
Right. So 14, 16.
So what I do is, it looks like if I'm not going to eat them all, like if I do go out for dinner once or twice a week, then I'll just freeze a couple of the meals and I'll have them later.
Right.
So I've always got some spares, or to share with a friend, that might come over. But no, I love the meals. They're tasty. They're good size. And it's just so much easier to prep them. I know I sound like a walking advertisement, but it's really true. So I do like to grill and cook. I love fish and stuff like that. So I eat a lot of it. But it's time consuming. You go to the supermarket, there's always temptations there. For me, it's the muffins. I have a weakness for muffins. I love carbs, and so
who doesn't?
Bro, it's just bad. So and at Heinen's in Sugar Falls, the salmon is right near the muffins, and so it's like this, I think they do it deliberately. It's a ploy.
It sounds like they do.
Yeah.
But no. But then there's you got to buy it, you got to take it home, and you got to cook it. And prep it.
No,
and
but you are health conscious. Other than the muffins, you're very health conscious. What'd you do before Zero.E? I mean, we're only in existence 3-4 months. You're a client for 2-3 months. What'd you do before, and what's the difference? And what it I get it. It might sound like an advertisement, but it's also a testimonial, and it also does help explain even a healthy person who did eat healthy before what the differences you're seeing in our meals versus what you thought before and what you've subscribed to before.
Well, it's fun because when you started the meal prep company or service, I had actually been looking for something. And, you can get pre-prepared stuff that's supposedly healthy from the supermarket. But you just know as it's gone through the supply chain, it's had, God knows what chemicals added, sodium benzoate, preservatives, things like that, right? So what you're getting is an adulterated healthy meal.
Right.
It may be healthier than Stouffer's. I hate to pick on them, but let's just use them. But it may be healthier than that, but it's not as healthy as it could be. The stuff you guys make is fresh. It's prepared locally, and it's shipped to me unfrozen. Right. So I know that what I'm getting is unadulterated.
And not shipped, delivered.
Delivered, right. Yeah.
Hand delivered.
We're not using Amazon here.
No, not yet anyway.
Not yet.
Not yet.
No, not yet. So no, I appreciate both the love and care that went into making it.
Yep.
And the selection of ingredients. I get a choice now, so I can skip all the yucky stuff I don't like olives and blue cheese. Not that you use them much anyway.
No, we don't.
And so I can pick out the yummy things. And you've introduced me to things I didn't know I like rice cauliflower. It tastes pretty darn good.
Right.
So, I see like at the low carb
again by
version,
itself, it doesn't taste pretty good, but with the right spices and
absolutely.
What's it called?
Seasoning.
The right seasoning, the right creams, the right combination with the sauteed vegetables and so on. It all comes together.
Oh, I've got my favorites. The turkey ricotta lasagna is absolutely like right up there for me. Like I love the texture and the taste, and 2.5 minutes in the microwave. And people at work will tell you on conference calls, I'm always eating. I've always got my little tray of food. So sometimes I have 3 meals a day. Sometimes
especially workout days, I'm sure.
Yeah, I get starving, and the meals are good size, but they're not huge.
Right.
And so. But I super appreciate them. They save me a ton of time and energy, and I financially I think probably works out, if not cheaper than going to the supermarket and cooking myself. Once I take everything into account, my time, everything else, and the fact that I buy muffins at the supermarket, I think it works out pretty darn well by itself. So financially, I have my food. I don't need to go shopping that often. At least not for me.
Right.
Now I'm hungry.
I'm always hungry, John. Constantly eating.
So, any other, advice, feedback? You know our situation pretty intimately. What advice do you have for us today?
I think you guys are doing great all by yourselves. I think there's people out there who acknowledge that things like meal prep and going to the gym and that, like, you've got to put yourself number one before you can put other people behind you. I think we're each leaders in our own lives. And, so for example, I view myself as I have to make myself healthy and stay healthy for my kids, right? They depend on me now, they're younger, but as they get older and become adults and stuff, they're going to have kids. I don't want to be some old granddad that's infirm and sick. I want to be healthy, travel with them, do things like that. So I'm trying to play the long game with my health. And so I would just say to people contemplating a change, like, make it and own it. It starts with them, right? You can't force people to change, only they can change. But people have to want to change. And I think there's lots of benefits. They should think about it. The meals, you can get the whole lot done at once, and within 3 to 6 months, you're going to do yourself.
Nice.
Exactly right. Exactly. And again, it stems from that initial decision. That's it. Like, enough's enough. I've stacked too many chips on unhealthy behavior. How do I start? a healthy lifestyle, a healthy behavior. And that's why food is easy, because they're spending the money anyway. So it's not an incremental overhead to private training or whatever else. I highly recommend, obviously, private training, because it helps you learn to love the workouts and the exercises and learn how it all comes together. But the food is such a simple first step. In fact, we just went out with clients for dinner, and again, the wife plays tennis every day. He plays basketball every day, and tennis, and a healthy lifestyle. But the food, they never, I guess, got it right, etc. And 2 months in, they've each lost like around 15 pounds. I think she lost 15, he lost 17. Just so hearing stories like that, they feel better and they feel stronger and they feel healthier, from people that are already semi-active. That's even a better testimonial than those that weren't at all active and weren't at all, like, of course you're going to see big change if you weren't eating healthy or working out at all. But seeing people that were health conscious and working out, seeing big change, it's great. It's great. I love this.
Everyone's got it inside them. They just have to want it.
Right.
And it takes effort, and some folks aren't up to that.
How do people go from? I mean, everyone wants it. How do people make that decision?
I don't know, mate. I think this is something that I can't really answer, right? Because I mean, like you guys, right? I've been doing this so long. I don't know what it's like to not be in it.
Well, you made a decision at some point, but you had to hit the health scare.
So maybe it's where you can envision, okay, if I continue on this path for another couple years, could I have a heart attack? Could I have a stroke? What's that going to do to my family? What's that going to do to my kids? And paint that picture, and then paint the opposite picture of having great health and living a healthy, long life or quality life, like you said, to 80. Making the decision: do I want the left side, the right side, and go.
People that want it, though, ultimately you can give them the menu and the directions, but they've got to pick it themselves. And I don't know. I think a lot of folks they just don't care until they have to care.
Right.
Because they're comfortable with not caring.
Right, and that's up to them, right? It's their body, their choice, their life. They can do as they please. But
and
sure,
I would say they don't even know how amazing it is on the other side.
No, how could you?
Maybe they don't care, but they don't know.
Everybody cares. Everybody cares. It's just they're too comfortable where they're at.
Right.
And they know that if they really want to start,
they're only comfortable because of habit, because of their existing habits and routines. That's why they're comfortable. They're not necessarily comfortable.
Right.
In fact, they might be in pain. They might be in discomfort, but they're just stuck in this.
Yeah, it's a treadmill of bad decisions, feeding bad lifestyle, and some folks, to be charitable, maybe they don't know, right? Maybe they don't know that what they're eating is bad. I think everybody knows.
Everybody knows.
If you know that, say, I mean, I'm not going to throw McDonald's under the bus, right? If you eat them anything in moderation is fine, right?
Everything's fine
in moderation.
One big
right,
Mac,
but you eat it every day, and maybe not so good for you.
Sure.
And the other thing I think is, most folks don't have a good connection between how many calories they're ingesting and how many they need. Right. And even lifting weights, even if you push heavy weights, you don't need as much, unless you're like a super big, fit person that's trying to put on, tons and tons of muscle. You don't need as many calories as you think.
Sure.
You really don't, right? So,
and that's why portion control is important.
Absolutely.
Because that's one thing that we've seen our clients, they cannot get. They just don't understand that an 18-ounce steak is 3 meals, right? Or you go to a Cheesecake Factory and it's 2,500 calories, right, and like 12 or 16 ounces of chicken. Again, that's 2 or 3 meals, and mashed potatoes, and vegetables, and a salad, and man, that's 2,000 calories. That's 2 or 3 meals. Cut it into 3 and eat it for lunch and dinner.
Right. It's easy to eat until you get full, isn't it? But it's
too late because if you feel full,
yeah, there's a delay between the mind and the stomach.
Right. And so what you want is regular smaller meals,
right,
that
and time
keep
in
you
between.
okay,
Right.
But you don't want to get hangry and then go and then drive past the Cheesecake Factory or the muffins at Heinen's.
Exactly.
Because then you've got the recipe for trouble, right? You'll eat.
Don't go to Heinen's hungry.
Don't go shopping.
Man, these muffins at Heinen's must be amazing. I'm actually going there today, so
don't get the muffins.
No, I'm not going to get the muffins.
But they are great.
Okay, let's wrap it up. As much as we'd love to talk to you way longer, you've got such a busy schedule. Pacific time is about to open, and you're about to get slammed with phone calls every 15 minutes. I've seen your calendar; it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it doesn't give me a lot of time to sometimes do my job, but supporting the people that work with us is important too.
Sure. No, good job. Keep it going. And again, thank you for business support, friendship support, customer support.
Well, I look forward to coming back
Alex.
here to episode number 731.
Oh, all right. No, we'll have you here before that. We'll have you here before that. We'll have you here at about 125.
125? That's 90 episodes. Okay. All right, 125. I was gonna offer maybe number 62 or 93 every 31.
Maybe
31. Like
come back for an update
once a month, man. I'm here. You bring it.
I don't know about all that.
Alex, thank you, man.
Yeah,
gentlemen.
Thanks, man.
Good morning.
You're a gentleman and a scholar. We appreciate you and thank you.
Yep. Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks for listening.
guys.
Take care.